Good evening, everyone. I'm Dr. S. Dehi. Today, I would like to share a few points on the course name Introduction to IT Infrastructure. The topic which I'm going to share is SOP and its application. Now, let me give a brief introduction to SOP. The abbreviation of SOP is the Standard Operating Procedure. It is a set of step-by-step instruction compiled by an organization to help workers carry out routine operations. SOP aims to achieve efficiency, quality output, and uniformity of performance while reducing miscommunication and failures to comply with industry regulations. The SOP should be followed exactly the same way every time to guarantee the organization remains consistent and in compliance with industry regulation and business standards. The next slide which I'm going to tell you is the standard operating procedure. It is a consists of three steps. One is define the task goals and why it needs an SOP. Second step is determine format for SOP. Third is identify task dependencies. Now here, let me explain the type of standard operating procedures. What actually is needed? One is checklist should be prepared. Then after that, the step-by-step list should be enclosed, hierarchical list, and process flow charts. Now, when you start preparing an SOP, you have to ensure uniform and quality output. One is SOP needs assessment. After assessment, we go for SOP development, then SOP implementation, then SOP evaluation. So these are the steps which has to be carried out. So let me go to the next slide. The types of SOP. One is the checklist. A checklist or the to-do list is one of the simplest method of writing an SOP document. So here a checklist can be created on an online note taking app like Bit or can be printed out and hand over to the employees. Now step by step list, similarly we have to prepare a checklist. A step by step bullet list works in the same way where you describe a procedure in relevant easy to follow steps. The next one is hierarchical list. If your procedures are more complex and need additional information, you can create hierarchical checklist or bullet list. If you are unable to explain a task in a single step and at the same time don't want to make the SOP lengthy, adding hierarchical steps can be beneficial. So the next one is process flowchart. Flowcharts are wonderful way to represent how a process works visually and help give better context around the workflow. So the next one is advantages of SOP. So helping one stick to a defined schedule, then assisting in training employees, then procedure will be positive, ensuring the safety of all employees. So why we need an SOP? That is what is advantage of SOP. So assisting in training employees, then guaranteeing compliance standard, then certifying that procedure will not negatively impact the environment, ensuring the safety of all employees, avoiding potential manufacturing failures. So these are all some steps why we go for standard operating procedure. So the next one is SOP, that is industries that use SOP. So let me take some examples. One is manufacturing SOPs, human resource SOPs, customer service SOPs, financial SOPs, IT SOPs, then environmental SOPs, marketing SOPs, then educational SOPs. So the components of standard operating procedures are first one is the purpose, that goal and objective of your SOP. The next one is procedure. The operating procedures in is needed for a standard guidance. The next we go for scope. So the extent and coverage of your SOP. Then responsibilities, the employees and stakeholders involved in preparing an SOP, then signed approval. So the approval signature of a key personnel. So these are all some mean why we create and who are involved in creating an SOP, for whom we are going to create the SOP. So that is why we have explained all these things.